Alright everyone, we start off today talking about a story that's been neglected, or rather covered up, shooed onto page 3. And there's a reason for that. When you look at the nexus of globalism, which Epstein, as a multi-billionaire, a very conciliatory figure to the Clintons and others, you basically can play like not even 5 steps of separation, but 1. And you can hook basically anyone in Hollywood, big banking, lamestream politics, journalism so-called, etc., Silicon Valley, together. All these people party together, etc. A very large number of people, thousands of them, were hanging out with Epstein, going to and from Lolita Island, going to and from Rape Ranch, etc. They are directly connected to the legacy media, every single outlet at every single level. They're friends with the pundit class, they're friends with the exec class, they're friends with the producers, etc. If I'm CNN or MSNBC or something, especially CNN considering what just happened with one of their own pundits, that'll be an exclusive for the day. If I don't want to really talk about the story. I have to mention significant parts of the trial against Ghislaine Maxwell, but I don't have to dig any deeper, nor would I, because it would implicate my own network. All of these people are into weird shit. Now here's the other thing. There are probably large numbers of people that went to Epstein Island or his ranch or something that weren't into illicit perversion but got entrapped anyway. It appears that there was a blackmail scheme of some sort going on with Epstein. I can understand why he got assassinated. Of course, that did happen. He did not kill himself. Ghislaine Maxwell, I think constantly on suicide watch, not without good reason. By the way, if you expect this to get the Clintons jailed or anything like that, please just give it up. Not going to happen. You're not going to see any major names actually implicated in this because these people are a gigantic web of interconnectedness. You're talking about trillions of dollars in collective wealth, most of the U.S. government, large chunks of various foreign governments, the banking system, Silicon Valley, the entire legacy media. Kind of a gargantuan power complex. This is the problem of having too much government and corporatism thus resulting. Now, before I go into this a little bit more, keep in mind that down below there will be a pinned comment if you're watching this video on YouTube with links to several other video sites that I use. Keep in mind I make exclusive videos every single day. Today only one because I do have an occult video, and of course I've nixed the 5th video idea until sometime next year once the next wave of my literary work is done. I'll be working on a few more edited works before the end of this year, so I'll be almost half done already by January 1st. So it won't take the whole year, not by a long shot, probably by sometime in June or July. The elites would like to remind you, please don't pay too much attention to the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Try digging for information on it. Where are all the page 1 articles? This is arguably the biggest human trafficking case, one of the biggest potential political scandals involving hundreds or thousands of top-name celebrities, etc., in U.S. history. This should be a perennial, day-to-day, page 1 thing. The legacy media, I mean, if they were actually doing journalism and telling people about things that are significant, I would think this would be at least near the top. You know, certainly you could dedicate some space there. It doesn't have to be just about the fucking tornado or the latest COVID variant that hasn't even killed anyone, that they're still trying to fearmonger people into quarantine camps with. You'd think that they could mention it. I go through, because I've been keeping some degree of tabs on the trial, because it's significant. And not only because of the trial itself is a drop in the bucket compared to the wider implications, again, which is why the legacy media won't even tell you about it. They don't want you to realize who's in Epstein's little black flight log. I still find it funny that when this is brought up and you say, hey, Bill Clinton was there like 5 times. Oh, but Trump traveled with Jeffrey Epstein. He was a good friend of his. Again, Orange Man Bad came in very convenient for them to cover their asses with regards to the obvious perversions of various political classites. The problem is, of course, Trump never actually went to Epstein's Island and was not a friend of his by the time he had allegations against him because he had already kicked him out of his life for perving on an underage waitress or a person who worked in one of his hotels. Kicked him out of his life entirely. I'd imagine part of it might have had to do with the fact that he had a teenage daughter at the time. I wonder why he didn't want Epstein around, and I wonder, by the way, why the swamp doesn't like Trump. He's rolling his eyes at these people. There are others. Not every celebrity, indeed probably not every name on the little black book list going to his island probably has any clue that it was going on. Some of these people severed ties. Bill Gates didn't. Isn't that one interesting? He already knew about the first wave of allegations against Epstein, was friends with him for years thereafter, very close friends, again, traveling to and from Epstein properties, and had to more recently apologize, like, well, maybe it wasn't a good idea after all. I kind of regret having stayed friends with him. Yeah, okay. Now it implicates you, so now you're very sorry about it. But please, one thing I want to caution people about, it's just like with the Durham probe, Clinton crime in general, Loretta Lynch, any investigation into wrongdoing by the swamp creatures. Don't expect this to go any further than nailing some Minutemen, and Maxwell's one of them. She was one of the bosom buddies of Epstein that was a fellow pervert helping to traffic by luring in teenagers and stuff like that. Epstein's dead. The linchpin got assassinated. He did not kill himself. To be clear, that is virtually impossible under the circumstances. Another thing the legacy media will not talk about, and if you bring it up, you're just a conspiracy theorist. It happens all the time. You know, guards fall asleep the same night you're off suicide watch. Your cellmate's not there to witness anything. And you kill yourself conveniently right after all of the cameras shut off. It's convenient. And then the computer records are falsified under bizarre circumstances. And one of the guards wasn't even a guard. Everything just lined up. And the stars align once in a while. He got a bum deal. He won the anti-lottery and he killed himself. Sad, sad, sad. Don't look into it too much, though. There's nothing bizarre about it. Now they're hoping to pull the wool over people's eyes again by never mentioning to the public, in the context of the Maxwell trial, hey, this goes further than Ghislaine Maxwell fondled several teenagers and was basically a lure in order to traffic people to the rich and famous. The part of the story they never elaborate on is the rich and famous part. You may notice this in this article as well. No mention of Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, all of these others. Stephen Hawking, I'm sure, was not there for the sex since he was completely paralyzed. I don't think that he was into that. I'll give him a pass for the fact that his pecker couldn't stand up like a flagpole no matter what was in front of him. But there were numerous people who went there. Spacey was there. We know that there are allegations that he's into young boys. Well, is there going to be any cursory investigation of any of these people? No. No need for that. It's just like when the LA County Sheriff said, hey, it's okay if this award show violated multiple local and state laws with regards to the Emmys, the Globes, or some shit. Some outdated award that no regular person cares about or tunes into. No masks, no social distancing, nothing, no vax test, no anything. And they said, well, yeah, but there's no real risk involved, so it's okay. We're not going to bring any charges. But you'd get thrown in jail quite literally and then be brought before a court, yelled at, and then be forced to pay a significant fine if you did. Might even hold you for an extended period of time without bail. They've been doing that in some of these cases because the court system's so clogged up to the point where it violates the rights of the defendants. I noticed that Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't have that problem because she's rich and powerful. Still is. By the way, still no revelation or deep digging by any journos into the Reddit page. One of the top 10 Reddit pages, subreddits of all time, was allegedly run by Ghislaine Maxwell for an extended period. This appears to be somewhat corroborated. Is the FBI going to look into it as a possible cybercrime network that is involved with human trafficking? No, of course not. Reddit just says, oh, to our knowledge, it wasn't actually Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, everything's fine. And Epstein killed himself, and none of these people that went to his ranch or his island did anything wrong. There are no entrapment tapes. There's no reason to look into it at all. I expect that they'll say, well, after this trial, I expect that when people start FOIA-ing things, they'll say, well, we're sorry, but the evidence got misplaced. Yeah, we had a stack of VHS tapes, 6 feet tall, supposedly labeled with, or CDs or whatever Epstein was using. I think he used CDs. With hundreds of hours of compromising footage that probably implicates literally hundreds, possibly thousands of rich and famous people. We know that this exists. I don't expect that it will ever be made public. I mean, obviously the sexual content couldn't be made public. But I mean, like, a summation of what was there, who was there, what they were doing. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get a successful FOIA of any internal write-up. Hey, by the way, this video showed Bill Clinton and Bill Gates spit roasting a 14-year-old. You're not going to see it. The FBI probably has a write-up right now, but we're never going to get to see it. You're never going to get to see a full write-up on what happened with Epstein that's not redacted to all hell either, because the whole thing's a giant scandal. But the legacy media is barely even reporting on it. That's about all. Peace out.